we have to be realistic about it, right? We're making it seem as if every man has their pick of the litter when it comes to women. Like, just go get this right woman. We know the stats about men and them not being able to obtain any type of women at all. We know how that goes. So we can't pretend like we should just get a better woman. There's not the same amount of women that are like that as right now with the generations. Like, if you're talking about somebody who's like a millennial down, Gen Z, like it's a different breed. They don't behave like that. It's not the same type of woman. A lot of them are different. They are different. You talking about somebody who's Gen X and above? Okay, that's different. Like, it was a different type of women. But what men have access to now, and if any woman, most dudes can't get women at all. They don't have choices. They just want to get any woman. There's 1 in 3 men that's not getting nothing. They haven't in the last year. And we talk about trying to be picky about what kind of women we could get. We got to get realistic. It's tough. So
I don't think that's picky though,
we
bro.
Adapt. What's that?
Picky. How is that picky?
That's not what?
That's not picky. I mean, that's what you need to set. Like you don't need to settle.
All I'm saying, I'm not saying that I wouldn't do that, right? I feel like you should build yourself as a man so you have access to, a better caliber of woman. That's what I advise people to do. But not everybody's doing that. And a lot of people don't have access to good women. There's not a lot of good women. I'm just saying it's less and less of them, and less of them every generation. That women that are actually understanding, women that you can talk to, women that even know how, women that are not dysfunctional. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. What Sweeney was saying is that we need to make it to where women are adjusted, not us. Because what's the alternative for you not to be honest with her, to lie to her, because she's not willing to understand that you want to have a safe space? I mean,
you just have to know what you have to know what you're dealing with and adapt to the situation. I would encourage people first to look for a better woman, but a lot of people are already in situations where they don't have that type of woman, right? And what's the alternative? Go ahead, get a divorce. Go ahead, find another woman. No, some people didn't even know, and then these women come in like Trojan horses. Sometimes they're coming with one attitude and then switch up on you. And of course, that's with the vetting process and all that. But that's neither here and there because it's already happened. So you have to adapt to your situation. You do the best you can with that.
Which one is it? I'm trying to get you on your thoughts. So which one is it?
Okay.
That most men can't get a woman, or most situations they have one already? It can't be both.
You said most men have. I never said that.
You
said there are men. There are men
have a situation where they're already in a relationship. That's what you said.
Men have. So there's men that have that there's situations that they're already in, right? If you're already married, you're already in a long-term relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if you're married, it's not that easy to just leave. And then there's other men who don't have access to women at all.
Right. So then, okay. So I'm just trying to get clarification. So then what is the alternative? If there are no good women, then are you suggesting that the man go ahead and lie to the woman, or decide to?
If you with the woman that can't handle the truth, yes. That's not the first. That's not my first choice. So then that means that
you're adjusting. So then you're not really the leader of the relationship.
It is what it is. You have to be the leader of the relationship. That doesn't take away your leadership. That doesn't take away your leadership per se.
You do that. You're going down. Trevor, when you do that, you're going down a slippery slope now, right? You're lying now. She goes lying, and she lying, you lying, and that ain't gonna last long.
We're not talking about being a straight up liar all the time, but there's certain things that's
what it's going to turn into, though.
You can't. That's what it doesn't have to turn into that. There's certain information that maybe that she can't handle, and you won't do that to her. It doesn't mean that I'm just going to be a stone cold liar for no reason, but you might know, okay, this person is not emotionally ready to process this information, so I'm not going to share that information. We're not saying lie about everything.
Lie about our finances. You're gonna lie about that, and I'll be honest with you, because she's gonna stress out, or she just ain't gonna be able to handle it, and that lie is gonna turn into lack of conversations, and then lack of conversation is gonna turn into lack of intimacy, and then lack of intimacy is gonna turn into divorce.
But how does a lie turn into lack of conversations?
I think somebody said it makes more sense to already have your game plan together and then tell her about the game plan. Like how if there's a situation with the tire, you don't have money for the tire, you need to be like, okay, let me figure this out. And so that I don't have to lie, I'm telling her what the game plan is so that we can get what's the exit strategy, right? If you're in real estate, you know that term. What's your exit strategy? Okay, so if you that's the point, that's the premise in which I'm saying to avoid lying. Already know how you're going to get to the next position instead of saying, well, I ain't got it. That's what I'm saying.
Let me add to this, Trev. All right, let me ask you this. If the end result, she's gonna leave you anyway. If you lie, she's gonna leave you. If you by you saying if you tell her to be honest and be, you know what I mean, show your emotional side or whatever, she's gonna feel some type of way about you, she's gonna leave you. If the end result is, let me ask you this. So if one, the line and everything, yeah, you might keep her a little bit longer, but then she's gonna wind up leaving you anyway if you don't drive yourself into an early grave. Or you can be upfront and honest with her and don't drive yourself into an early grave. And yeah, you might still wind up risking leaving her anyway. I mean, her leaving you anyway. But which one is better for the man?
Yeah, but what
as far as himself?
About?
All right, y'all. Let me get Eric in there too. Eric, haven't answered the question. I know you've been waiting patiently. Eric, what are your thoughts? And then we can circle back around, gentlemen.
It's just real simple, man. I think, first of all, I think we've just beat this subject to death. Real talk, man. Most relationships that deal with that kind of stuff, first of all, it doesn't matter how a relationship ends up getting to that place where a man has to cry. In the first stages, there's always the honeymoon stage. We know that. So I don't necessarily agree with the vetting before. I really don't. I think that times change, situations change, and circumstances change. I really haven't heard anybody talk about that. When dynamics change around the household, when circumstances and situations change that affect your household, that can actually have an adverse effect on you. And let's just be honest, gentlemen, you know, your woman is spiritually connected to you and she feels everything that you're going through as well. I think that oftentimes when men have to get to that point where they're crying and feel like they got to reveal something to their wife when it's dealing with something with the household, a lot of times a woman these days already knows that it's going on in the household. She already knows what's happening. She has a feel for it. We don't have trophy wives anymore. We don't. That's something, and my brother Trev said something about generational stuff, but that's a generation that was way back even before the baby boomers. You know what I'm saying? That might have been even a silent generation, which was way back in the 40s. So the thing about it is the household already feels the pressure. Now, if the man comes to the woman and he begins to talk about the pressure and begins to reveal how that pressure is affecting him, and a couple of tears drop, then that again could trigger something in her. And then now it could be wind up being one of two things. It could be a mess where everybody's slobbering and crying all over each other or yelling and screaming at each other, or it opens up an opportunity for both parties to be honest about the situation, and then you can really work it out. And it can conversely turn into something that brings you even closer together.